Ladies and gentlemen, this is a special edition of Pillar to Post. It is 3 a.m. and I can't sleep. Now, I'm going to be a little bit quieter than I normally am because my family's sleeping and I don't want to disturb anyone. So, I'm hoping the audio is fine. I'll check it before I upload. If it sucks, I'll redo this tomorrow. But, this special edition of Pillar to Post, we are going to be discussing tag teams and what we could do with the Raw Smackdown divisions to change them and make them more appealing. Remember, you can find me on Patreon, Facebook, Twitter. All that information is going to be below in the description box. What I need you to do, subscribe and like. And remember, I am a consistent uploader. You will never go without content when you subscribe to Pillar to Post or me, Mordecai. Everyone knows my real name is Pete Wall, and my Mordecai is my channel name, but you know how it is. So I will catch you in a couple of minutes after the intro, and we will discuss tag teams. See you in a bit.
10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0.
This is Pillar to Post. And we are back. Now, like I said, we're going to discuss something that's actually near and dear to my heart when it comes to wrestling. I've always been a fan of tag team wrestling. Gone are the days of Legion of Doom, the British Bulldogs, the Hart Foundation, the Quebecers. I could go on and on. The list is endless. Gone are those days. Days when WWE, or back then WWF, thought more highly of their tag team division than they do now. And in recent years, I don't know what it was that started them down this path where they started cutting down the tag team division. You look at Smackdown and Raw now. Their tag team division is piss poor. A lot of their teams are being mishandled. A lot of their teams are being underutilized. Or they're turned into these happy clowny gimmicks that I cannot stand. Look at the New Day. There's many things that could be done with the New Day right now. But you won't have it done because they are a promotion machine now. They are promoting their own merchandise. They are promoting WWE's merchandise and so much more. Look at Enzo and Cass. What are they doing? They've been relegated to doing the same thing as New Day. They're advertisers now for WWE. And it's despicable to me. I find it very despicable. There are so many things that they could be doing with these tag teams to make SmackDown and Raw more interesting. Yet, you get teams that don't do a damn thing anymore. You never see them on a live Raw show. Maybe at house shows are being utilized. I don't know this. But on TV, we are not seeing hardly any of these tag teams. And what tag teams they do have, they're a joke. Look at American Alpha. They have yet to find themselves as characters in the WWE machine. Now, I am going to take off my glasses because I did notice it's giving me bad glare. I do apologize for that. It will make it a little bit more difficult for me to read some of the notes I put down, but we're going to roll with it. Sorry, I'm congested. My nose, sinuses are screwed. I can't sleep. It is a pain in the ass. But before we go too far into the conversation, I'm going to tell you once again, all my social media outlets, you can find them below in the description box. And any ways you want to contact me on Twitter, I'm on Patreon now, I'm on VidMe, Facebook, you name it, I'm trying to get on it. Just so that way it's easier to find my stuff and help promote my merchandise as well as this podcast and my novel. So, moving on. I'm going to start off with SmackDown because to me I enjoy SmackDown a lot more. It's more of a wrestling-oriented show. It's not so much about the entertainment, but in the value of the wrestling. So, I'm going to list off the names of tag teams we have currently on SmackDown and how they're classified by WWE standards. So, we have the Usos, who are the reigning champions. They are 3-time champions. You've got American Alpha. They are classified as top contenders, and they have held the title once. You've got the New Day. They're newcomers and presumed contenders, and they've been tag team champions twice. You've got BREEZANGO. They are classified as a filler tag team. The Shining Stars, filler tag team, with 1 tag team championship reign. The Ascension, also classified as filler. Actually, they don't even have anything beside their name. They're not even classified as anything. What does that tell you? Now, I'm going to take the Ascension just to start this conversation off with. These guys, for one, being underutilized. They are kept off TV. We, the fans, don't get to see them. They've got a good look to them. They need a little something more. I would hook these guys up with a manager. Not just any manager. It's got to be the right manager. Now, at first I was thinking before I seen Authors of Pain, I was thinking Road Warriors ex-manager Paul Ellering. He'd be a good fit with these guys. And a friend of mine said, well, what about James Mitchell, the sinister minister from the ECW days? And it was like, wow, that would just be perfect. So, if WWE hooked these guys up, the Ascension, with a manager with similar styles as Paul Ellering and James Mitchell, a devious, dark manager, have him be the mouthpiece for the Ascension. Make these guys mean, nasty, tough guys, kicking ass, taking names, and forgetting about them as they make their way up the ladder to championship gold. Now, the Shining Stars. It is hard for me to picture anything with these guys. They have had so many gimmicks, so many name changes. They always go by Epico and Primo, except for when they were the Los Matadores, I think it was. But the look, the change, it's continuous. It's hard to see a positive future for these guys. Now, they could be jobbers to make the other wrestlers look good, but you don't want them to stay jobbers as well. But to think of what to do with them is really hard. They could be stepping stones for tag teams coming up. Other than that, I really don't see what we could do with them. Really, it is unimaginable because these guys have been twisted and turned and revamped and spat out so many times. It is just impossible to imagine them being anything except for what they are. Now, I want to see what SmackDown's going to do with these guys. They came out in just jeans and no shirt, nothing on them when they came out and made their debut on SmackDown. So, let's see. I want to follow them a little bit more, see if they're going to have airtime at all or what. Now, since I don't really have a clear-cut path for these guys, I'm going to move on to BREEZANGO. Let's get rid of the BREEZANGO name. Do away with it. Gone are the days of, what was it? Bradgelina or whatever the fuck it was called. You know, Benifer. You know, they mix names together. Gone are those days. We don't need to see that shit on SmackDown. Let them be the fashion police or the fashion popo, as they wear on their gear. Let them be that. Let them be entertaining. Let them be the classic comic heels, if you will. But let them wrestle. Both these guys have extreme amounts of skill, potential. If handled correctly, these guys could be tag team champions. And I would like to see them get to that point. But right now they're being relegated to comedy acts, with one of them dressing up as Nikki Bella and getting their ass handed to them on a daily basis. Every time they make an appearance, they're getting their ass kicked. They need to do away with that. They need to stop being a filler tag team. There should not be any fillers in wrestling to begin with. But we get that. I would let them run with the fashion police gimmick. Let them wrestle the way we know they can. Let them compete. I would like, hey, first feud, have Shine Stars go against BREEZANGO. You know, you could have either BREEZANGO, the fashion police, as, you know, faces or heels, because done the right way, they could be both. They could be either or. It wouldn't matter. These guys, everyone sees the potential in them, but they're not being utilized. The New Day. Like I said earlier, there's not much you can do with the New Day anymore. Yes, they'll have new feuds, new competition to go against, but they are your typical babyface that WWE produces these days. They are turned into a promotion monster. And there's no way that WWE is going to change that anytime soon. So we got to deal with them the way we are. And hopefully we see them change it up a little bit. Now, I have noticed that SmackDown is very heel heavy when it comes to tag teams. We've got basically two babyface tag teams. That is the New Day and American Alpha. And then the rest are heels. So American Alpha, like I said, they need to find their character. They need to find out who they are and where they belong in the roster on SmackDown. I'm almost thinking these guys need a manager. I'm almost at that point. I would have loved to see Kurt Angle be their manager rather than be Raw GM. These guys have so much potential. You see them when they wrestle. They have so much potential. And yes, they are top contenders right now. Yes, they are former tag team champions. But that reign wasn't very long. And how often do we actually get to see them? You know, we got to see them, I think, the last week or two on TV. But before that, it was like very sparingly. Usos need to stay as they are. They are gold the way they are. They are tough. They are skilled. They are fantastic as heels. Not much you can do with them. But like I said, SmackDown for the tag team roster is heel heavy. What do you do with that? Well, we've seen the Revival get brought up into the Raw main roster. How about we bring up DIY? Place them on SmackDown. And then at least we've got 3 face tag teams. And then we've got 4 heel teams. So it kind of evens it out just a little bit. And I would have them start off at the bottom. They got to come through the Shining Stars. They got to climb the ranks to get where they belong. And that's in the main event picture. DIY is over. They are enjoyed by all the fans. I love watching their matches. They are perfect. Yeah, like I said, they're just getting brought up in the main roster. If they were to be brought up to the main roster on SmackDown, I'd have them start at the bottom, work their way up to the top. These guys are classified as underdogs. Have them be that underdog team that slowly rises up and then finally captures the gold at a huge event like, say, Mania or SummerSlam or something big. It can't be just a regular piddly little pay-per-view. It's got to be something big. I'd have them conquer the Shining Stars because, look it, the Shining Stars, they mean nothing in the grand scheme of things. They've gone through too many things, and fans they're sick of them. They don't want to see them anymore. I'd have them feud with BREEZANGO, or, like I said, the Fashion Police. I think that would be a great feud between the two. Something that would heighten both teams' careers. And then, like I said, Ascension, just wreaking havoc on everyone. Becoming the top stars that they should be. They are the essential brute strength of a bad team. You know, they need that manager behind them to make them the team that they need to be. They've got the look. They've got a power. They've got the heel magic. Bring in a manager for these guys. Make them the most devious motherfuckers on SmackDown. Have them conquer. And then capture the gold. Let them have a good run. Have American Alpha be the team to finally take them out. And then, you know, there could be many possible feuds with these guys. The Ascension is gold for a heel team. They just need that manager for the extra push. The Usos, like I said, they can feud with all of these guys. They could have great matches with every single one of these tag teams on SmackDown. I would like to see a few more tag teams brought into SmackDown and Raw, but we got to work with what we got. Like I said, American Alpha has to find themselves. Right now, they're kind of they're right there at the top, just not enough to really push them over all the way with the fans. The fans are unsure of them. They don't know how to take them yet. They look like they're trying to be the Steiner brothers and Team Angle back in the day. Charlie Haas and Shelton Benjamin. I think they were called the world's greatest tag team. It looks like they're trying to be a cross between those two, the Steiner brothers and the world's greatest tag team. In my opinion, that's the way they're coming off. And it's like they can't decide. So they need to decide. They need to find themselves, and they're going to be gold. Either way, they're going to be gold. And maybe their next tag team run will be a hell of a lot better than it was this time. I'm going to move on to the Raw. And like, this is not my way of saying this is how to fix the tag team division. There's so many ways that the tag team division could be fixed. More focus on tag teams is the number one. That is needed in a big way on both brands. And we're not getting WWE's creative or even management focusing on the tag team division. So like I said, let's move on to the Raw division. And I'm going to do the same thing I did with SmackDown. What they're categorized at. Hey, so we've got the Hardy Boys. They are the current reigning champions on Raw. And they've held that 8 times. Right now, this is their current run with the Raw tag team titles. But in total, throughout their careers, they've had 8 WWE tag team gold. Cesaro and Sheamus. They're classified as number 1 contenders. They've held the gold once together, and Cesaro has held the gold a total of 3 times. Luke Gallows and Carl Anderson, once known as The Club. Recently, you haven't heard that name, The Club. It's been Luke Gallows and Carl Anderson. They are classified as title contenders. Enzo Amore and Big Cass. They are also classified as title contenders. 0 gold. The Revival. They're classified as newcomers and potential contenders. The Golden Truth. Filler. Heath Slater and Rhino. Also classified as filler. But they've been champions 1 time, and that was SmackDown. Now, I'm going to say this right now with Heath Slater and Rhino. They captured the fans' attention. They were a unique pairing that everyone didn't think would work. And it worked. It surprised everyone. They went over. They won the championships. And then they were forgotten about. Sad. The Golden Truth. Goldust and R-Truth. When's the last time we've seen them on TV? The Revival. Awesome tag team. NXT greats. You can only look at them like that. They are NXT greats, and they're going to be greats on the main roster. Enzo Amore and Big Cass. Laughingstocks and promotion machines. Luke Gallows and Carl Anderson lost. They were fucked with when they shouldn't have been. And that is the sad thing. Cesaro and Sheamus, they have great potential. I love both these guys. They look good together. You cannot say anything bad about the pairing. They finally clicked. They're coming out now wearing the same garb. A suit jacket with a kilt. Looks fantastic. I love their entrance. The Hardy Boys, you cannot say enough good things about these guys. These guys click with the fans. I can't wait till they're allowed to use the broken gimmick or even the hints at a savage gimmick if they cannot use the broken gimmick. You can't take anything away from this team. Actually, there's a few teams on here I talked about. You can't take anything away from them. They've got the skill. They've got the knowledge. They've got what it takes to go over with the fans. Now, Heath Slater and Rhino dealt with in the right way, like they started in SmackDown. They work. The fans back them. They garnered the fans' attention and respect. The fans accepted them as champions. So what happened? They need to work on that again. They need to hit gold with this team again. It went over. I don't understand why that was dropped. Why they were relegated to being filler. These guys worked well together. They worked well with the fans. It worked. Go back to it. The Golden Truth. The only thing I can say about the Golden Truth, the only way this team will actually garner some sort of attention, lose the gimmicky bullshit, and when I say that, I mean the way they've been acting. You know, the way Goldust has been acting the last couple of years, he acts all fucked up and weird. And R-Truth is the same way. They're going for laughs and bullshit. It is too much. Goldust needs to go back to when he first entered WWF. The old Goldust that y'all remember. The one that was reciting catchphrases from movies and being eerie and strange and serious. R-Truth, if you've ever watched him in TNA when he went stone cold serious, he was straight up in everyone's face. That's the R-Truth I want to see again. I don't want to see the laughing stock. I don't want to see the Joker. I don't want to see what he's doing now. I want to see him in a serious role. Make these guys heel. Have them go against Heath Slater and Rhino for a bit. Blow back and forth feud to maybe build up both of their teams once again in the fans' eyes. And let the fans know, hey, these guys are still around. Hey, they actually got something to give us. The Revival, don't change a damn thing. These guys need to climb that ladder and get to that top rung. Face the Hardy Boys for their big first victory and championship gold. That's what I see with the Revival. Make them climb that ladder. Go through every single team and have them face the Hardy Boys. And make that a feud to remember. You got the Revival. You got the Hardy Boys. Back and forth at pay-per-views. Maybe the first one gets thrown out. Maybe a DQ because the Revival got frustrated. The second one, have it as a close match. And something, I'm not going to say a fuck finish. You don't want to use too many fuck finishes in a feud. But maybe a double count out or a draw. And then finally at a huge pay-per-view, have the Revival go over. Have them become Raw Tag Team Champions at one of the largest shows of the year. Enzo Amore and Big Cass. This team had it in NXT. They got pushed up too soon, and then they got relegated to comedy acts and promotion tools. They need to take that away from them. Enzo Amore needs to become serious. He needs to become a legit, serious wrestler. Drop the comedy act. They need to have Big Cass walk up to him, give him a fucking backhand or a bitch slap and say, look, I am tired of being in the position we are. This is your fault because you want to joke around and have fun. It's time to get serious. Or I drop you like freaking a bag of dog shit. Have Enzo get serious. Have him become an actual team. Not this fucking clown act that's going on now. And have them feud with the Club, with the Revival. Have them feud with every single one of these guys. Let them become tag team champions. Not every team can be champions, but these guys have the potential. They already connected with the fans. Now they're starting to lose their fan base because of the comedy act. The fans are tired of watching them clown around. They want a serious tag team that you can still joke around, do his shtick on the way to the ring, have his fun, but when the ring bells, it's time to get serious. That's what needs to happen with this team. They are championship material. They've proven that they are. Now it's time to be that. Luke Gallows and Carl Anderson. I better take a drink because my mouth is getting dry. These guys had it all when they came into the WWE machine. Luke Gallows and Carl Anderson, the Club, with AJ Styles. They need a mouthpiece. And if it isn't going to be Finn Balor or AJ Styles, it needs to be a manager. It needs to be someone that can make them the club again. It needs to be someone that can get them over because they've been used, abused, neglected, and underutilized and turned into a joke. And that's sad because these guys had everything going for them when they came into WWE. They were so over in New Japan Pro Wrestling, and then when they got brought in, they were treated like dog shit. They need a mouthpiece, and that has to be Finn Balor. They need someone to guide them. And they need someone to make them the club once again. Now, either the Balor Club or whatever. But these guys need somebody to make them strong again, make them stand on their 2 feet again, and make them the team that they deserve to be, and we know that they could be. Is it too late? No, it's not too late. It can be done. It just has to be done the right way. And it's either bringing them back to forces with Finn Balor, or it is bringing in a manager to guide them, to be their mouthpiece. Don't let these guys talk, because Luke Gallows has a way of saying shit that does not go over well, and it just makes him look stupid. My opinion. Cesaro and Sheamus. I wouldn't change a damn thing about these guys except for the way creative is doing it. These guys should be champions. And eventually they will be. They need to be facing guys like the Revival, like Luke Gallows and Carl Anderson, like Enzo and Big Cass, but in serious matches, in matches where Enzo isn't a fucking clown. Heath Slater and Rhino would look good against Cesaro and Sheamus. Luke Gallows and Carl Anderson against Heath Slater and Rhino would look good. Enzo and Cass against Heath Slater would look good. I'm hard fought. I'm hard to think of what to do with Golden Truth anymore. I am. Like I said, turn both characters more serious. Let's see, we've got Hardy Boys that are faces. We got Cesaro and Sheamus faces. Enzo and Cass are faces. And the Golden Truth are classified as babyface. Heath Slater and Rhino are also classified as babyface. So we've got the Revival and Luke Gallows and Carl Anderson that are heels. Like I said, make Golden Truth go heel. Make them go heel. Make them go dark. They've already had their fun. They've already played their games. They're not getting utilized anymore. Go heel. Make it bad. Make it so people want to see you get beat up. That is all I can think about for this team. Heath Slater and Rhino, they've got the potential to be good. They got the potential to be even better. They showed that on Smackdown Live. Now they need to find that glory again, that spot that they got, that they were given, and this time make sure that they have no choice but to let them run with the ball. Let's see how far it can get them up the rankings. My thoughts. Now, possible feuds, like I said, Hardy Boys, the Revival. That'd be the best one right there. Hardy Boys and the Revival would make a beautiful feud. I'd have Cesaro and Sheamus. We've seen them against the club already. Too many times. Heath Slater and Rhino are in now. Have them feud with Cesaro and, with Heath Slater and Rhino for a bit. Build each other up a bit. Hardy Boys and Cesaro and Sheamus as well. You know, they look good together. Enzo and Cass. Have them actually have a good competitive feud with the club. Could have it go back and forth. Have Enzo and Cass go over finally with a serious fighting. Not this clown bullshit that we've seen. Sorry, I've got an eyelash in my eye. A serious Enzo Amore and Big Cass, I'd have them go over and get them into the title shot picture, that upper echelon where we want to see them fight for the title. You know, it's easy to sit here and think of what I could do with them. It's harder to actually say it out loud, because you look at what they've done with these teams, a lot of these teams. They've finally backed Cesaro and Sheamus a bit more. But look what they did to the club. Look at what they've done to Enzo and Cass. Look at what they've done with the Golden Truth and Heath Slater and Rhino. These guys have all been neglected, used, abused. Hell, the story is McMahon loves to see Enzo get smacked around and ragdolled because he thinks it's funny. What does that tell you about the way they think about these guys? That needs to be stopped. These guys all need to be utilized properly. Creative needs to get behind every single one of these teams, or else there's no point in it. I'm tired of seeing the crappy tag team matches that last maybe 5 minutes or 3 minutes and then they're done. Tag team wrestling used to be more important than singles matches. At one point, the tag team titles were more important than the world title. At one point, the Intercontinental title was more important than the world title. And now, we barely get tag team matches on TV. Pay-per-views, they are neglected like a motherfucker. And it's sickening. I want to see actual tag teams. I don't need people just thrown together. They need to be looking in the indies for tag teams that have been working together for a couple of years. Or not just a couple. They've been working, training, breathing tag team wrestling. Basically since they broke into the wrestling business. That's the kind of tag teams they need. People that have worked together. Now, sometimes throwing two people together work, but it takes time. Look at Cesaro and Sheamus. That took time. It took time to get them over with the fans, and it took them time to get these guys clicking together. They're clicking. Now utilize them. Luke Gallows and Carl Anderson, they've been working together since New Japan Pro Wrestling, and any other promotion I guess they could have worked in. These guys click. They just need that extra element, either a manager or Finn Balor, and utilized properly, again, with creative. Enzo and Cass, they were really over in NXT. They're really over on the main roster. Creative needs to utilize them correctly. The Revival, I don't care what anyone says. Creative can try and fuck them up. This team is going to go over any way possible. There's nothing that can hurt this team unless they get kept off of TV or they get made to look like bums. I don't think that's possible. These guys have way too many fans who respect them and who love to see the way they wrestle. They are a throwback team. They remind me of the Minnesota Wrecking Crew. That is the Anderson brothers, Ole and Arn Anderson. You know, that's what they remind me of. They move like them. They wrestle like them. It looks good. So, that is my thoughts on tag team wrestling, on the teams that are with WWE. Maybe I'll sit down tomorrow and actually write up what I want to talk about. Maybe just read from my bold points. It'll be a little bit easier than what I just did. But that is the way I'm looking at these tag teams. You got potential in the teams. I don't know about Golden Truth. I think they need to be broken up in the end and start being utilized differently as a singles division. In the singles division, they need to find better teams. It's just what they need. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. They need to find new teams. And yes, NXT's working on it, but they need to find other tag teams out of NXT. They can't just keep on raping NXT talent for their show. NXT has to stop being looked at like a feeder a feeder brand. That show could draw a lot more viewers than what Raw and SmackDown are doing if it was a 2-hour show and if it was live, not all these pre-taped shows. Just saying. So I'm going to end it there. I'm going to try and get some sleep for a change. I will, like I said, have all the links for Teespring, my FB pages, my FB homepage where you can friend request me and whatever, Patreon, all that's going to be down below in the description. And I'm going to end this with the outro. Thank you for joining me. Thank you to all the people that have subscribed to me as of late. Remember, subscribe and click like if you enjoyed the video. And maybe we will discuss the tag teams a little bit more at a later date when I don't have to be careful how loud I get. Or, yeah, it would be about how loud I get, because I get more opinionated when I'm allowed to be a little bit on the louder side. So have a good night. Thank you for watching, and I will see you next time.
10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0.
This is Pillar 2 Post.